Breaking: PF Cadres block Given Lubinda, Lungu family's grip on the party collapsing. Zambia wakes up to chaos and confusion, as Patriotic Front acting President Given Lubinda is suddenly blocked from speaking live on Let the People Talk, one of Zambia's most influential radio platforms. But this wasn't just an ordinary disruption. It was a message. A message that the once mighty Patriotic Front, the party that carried Edgar Lungu to power, is now tearing itself apart from within. Whispers are growing louder. Was this the work of rival PF factions? Was it a deliberate move to silence Lubinda, or a warning to anyone still loyal to the Lungu family? Because behind the microphones, the crowds, and the headlines, a deeper struggle is unfolding. A struggle for control, for loyalty, and for the soul of the PF itself. Stay with us, because what happened that morning may have just exposed the biggest fracture inside Zambia's opposition ahead of 2026. This is InspirAfrica Official, where we uncover the untold stories shaping Zambia's political future. Today, we take you behind the breaking headlines, to understand what really happened when Given Lubinda was blocked by suspected PF cadres in Lusaka. For many, this wasn't just a confrontation, it was a symbolic moment. A reflection of how far the Patriotic Front has fallen since Edgar Lungu left power, and how divided it has become over who should inherit his political legacy. Inside the party, the Lungu family's influence still runs deep, but cracks are showing. Old allies are turning into rivals, and the battle lines between loyalty and ambition have never been clearer. Could this shocking incident mark the end of Lungu's control over PF? Or is it just the beginning of a much bigger strategy? One that will decide who truly leads Zambia's opposition into the next election? Let's break it all down. Tensions explode inside the Patriotic Front as Given Lubinda is blocked from appearing on a live radio program, reportedly by his own party supporters. Could this signal the collapse of the Lungu family's once iron grip on Zambia's largest opposition movement? In this investigative breakdown, InspirAfrica Official unpacks the shocking scene, the growing divisions inside PF, and what this means for the future of Zambia's opposition politics. Is a new power emerging, or is the Lungu legacy fighting back from the shadows? Watch till the end. You won't believe who's allegedly behind this internal sabotage. The chaos in Lusaka. Lubinda, don't enter. Lusaka woke up to political chaos that no one saw coming. What was supposed to be a routine Patriotic Front, PF, leadership meeting quickly spiraled into a scene of shouting, barricades, and sheer pandemonium. Acting PF President Given Lubinda, once considered the bridge between the old Lungu loyalists and the new reformist voices, found himself standing outside his own party's gate, literally blocked by his own cadres. "Go back home, Lubinda. We don't want you," shouted a group of furious PF members, waving placards and chanting anti-Lubinda slogans. The crowd, made up mostly of frustrated youths and grassroots organizers, accused him of betraying the Lungu legacy and selling out to UPND interests. The tension had been simmering for weeks, but few thought it would reach this level of confrontation. Witnesses say Lubinda tried to reason with the group, but the chanting only grew louder. Within minutes, stones were flying, banners were ripped apart, and police were called in to restore order. Officers formed a human barrier around Lubinda's vehicle, escorting him away amid the chaos. Inside PF circles, this incident was more than a protest, it was a symbolic revolt. The once unbreakable unity that defined the PF under Edgar Lungu has collapsed into factional chaos. Cadres loyal to the late president's family say Lubinda has lost touch with the base, while his allies argue he's being sabotaged by those clinging to outdated loyalties. For many observers, this was the moment the world saw just how deep PF's wounds have become. What began as a shouting match outside the party headquarters has now exposed a much darker truth. The Lungu family's influence is fading fast, and the battle for control of the Patriotic Front has officially begun. The divided house. PF is no longer PF. Inside the Patriotic Front, the cracks are no longer hidden, they're gaping wide open for all to see. Ever since the death of former President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, the PF has struggled to find its direction. What was once a united movement under Lungu's command has now splintered into warring camps, one pushing for modernization, the other fiercely defending what they call the true Lungu legacy. At the center of it all stands Given Lubinda, trying to hold the pieces together. But insiders say his grip is slipping fast. Critics within the party describe him as too diplomatic, too slow, and too disconnected from the party's grassroots. Lubinda is not Lungu, one PF provincial chairman said bluntly. He's not fighting for the same people who built this party. Yet many believe the real battle isn't about Lubinda's personality. It's about who controls the PF's inheritance. Behind closed doors, powerful factions linked to Tassila Lungu, Makibi Zulu, and Dr. Mundya Mudolo are quietly vying for dominance. The writing on the wall is clear. While Lubinda still wears the crown, the throne beneath him is shaking. The PF that once stood as a family is now a battlefield. The Lungu legacy, from power to paralysis. To understand the Patriotic Front's current crisis, you have to rewind to the end of Edgar Lungu's presidency in 2021, a time when Zambia's political landscape was shifting dramatically. Lungu's fall from power didn't just end a presidency, it shattered an entire ecosystem built around one man's authority. For years, the PF ran on loyalty, not ideology. Ministers, MPs, and cadres alike owed their positions to ECL, not because of shared vision, but because of allegiance. Every major decision, every party nomination, flowed through his approval. But once Lungu lost power, and later passed away, that structure, once solid as steel, began to crumble like dust. Now, that same loyalty-based system has turned into paralysis. With no single figure commanding respect across all factions, the PF finds itself trapped, unable to move forward, yet unwilling to let go of the past. Esther Lungu, who once played the role of quiet stabilizer behind the scenes, is said to be deeply disappointed by what the PF has become. According to insiders, she believes many of Lungu's former allies have used his name for personal gain, while abandoning the humility and discipline he once demanded. Meanwhile, younger PF leaders, especially those from the Copperbelt and northern regions, are calling for a clean slate. "We can't keep living in Lungu's shadow," one youth leader said. "If PF is to survive 2026, it needs to evolve." But to the old guard, that talk sounds like betrayal. To them, moving on from Lungu isn't modernization, it's rebellion. And so the PF stands divided, one half clinging to memory, the other demanding movement. A legacy once built on unity now risks ending in civil war and collapse. The rise of the new guard, Mudolo, Sangwa, and the future. While Lubinda struggles to maintain control, two powerful names are quietly emerging from the background: Dr. Mundya Mudolo and John Sangwa. Mudolo, the businessman and philanthropist recently linked to a $15 billion plan to rebuild Zambia's economy without IMF aid, is winning support among PF reformists who want an intelligent, financially savvy leader to restore credibility. Meanwhile, constitutional lawyer John Sangwa, who recently announced his move into politics, is seen by some as the moral compass the opposition desperately needs, someone unafraid to challenge both PF corruption and UPND dominance. Together, these two represent something Lungu's PF never fully embraced: change. And that's exactly what scares the old guard. According to party insiders, a secret meeting was recently held in Lusaka where PF strategists debated whether to back Mudolo or Sangwa as the new face of the opposition. But one source said it best: if PF cannot unite behind one of them soon, there won't be a party left to lead. What's next? Can PF survive 2026? As the dust settles from today's dramatic blockade, one truth is becoming harder to ignore. The PF is no longer Zambia's most organized opposition force. It's now a family feud dressed as a political party. Given Lubinda's authority has been publicly humiliated, and the Lungu family's hold appears to be slipping, analysts say PF's survival now depends on whether it can reinvent itself before 2026. Political commentator Sishawa recently noted, if PF continues fighting itself, HH won't even need to campaign hard in 2026, he'll win by default. Meanwhile, within PF circles, a growing number of youth are demanding an emergency general conference, a total reboot to elect new leadership and define a clear vision. But will that happen before it's too late? For now, one image defines the PF's crisis. Given Lubinda standing outside the Secretariat gate, blocked by the very cadres he once led, a powerful symbol of a party at war with itself, and a legacy slowly slipping away. Zambia watches closely. Because this battle, between loyalty and change, between the past and the future, could decide not just the fate of the Patriotic Front, but the balance of power in Zambia's 2026 elections.